Hey guys, it's Kaylor. Welcome to the YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to finish up our prototype in ProtoPie Studio. We designed an application that's kind of like a stock image app last time with Adobe Xd. Today, we're going to import that into ProtoPie and make it a functioning prototype. I'm also going to give you my opinions on the program at the end and where I think it fits in. And most importantly, if you remember from the first video, the question I really want to see answered is, how does this compare to me animating in After Effects? Is it more efficient in certain ways? And today we're going to try to discover that, and I'm going to answer that question at the end. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to select New Pi, and we need to change the device to a iPhone 10 because that's what our design is in, and that is at 3x, so we need to remember that, and okay. So let's load up the design here. We need to have this open in Adobe Xd and able to import this. So here are 3 screens. We're going to be importing each one in its own scene, and we're going to be working in one scene, but we're going to use the other 2 for dimensions and the X and Y coordinates and things like that. So let's go back to ProtoPie, and here we're in scene 1. I'm going to go to File, Import, and then Adobe Xd CC. So our first design is home, and I want all the layer structure. I want to overwrite the positions of the layers. I want to overwrite the size of the layers, and I also want to check this to update the layer order and grouping structure. And then we need to change this to 3x to match what we have up here. And click import, and that'll go ahead and load that up. And here is what we have so far. All right, so now that we have that imported, I want to show you the preview. So this is the preview window, and unfortunately I don't have enough room to show it on the screen, so we're going to be dragging this on and off. But right now, we have this little cursor, and we're going to first click on New, and that's going to open up the second scene. So let's go to Scene 2, Add New Scene, and we're going to import our next artboard from Adobe Xd, and that is Paging. And then same settings here, 3x, and Import. So this is what we're going to have next. And then we'll go to the third screen after that. So we'll import that one as well. That is Full View and Import. So this is our goal. First off, we want to get to this view, and then we want to go all the way back to the home. So let's go to scene 1 and get started working on that. All right, so my layering from Adobe Xd is really messy, so I'm going to start grouping things and renaming things. So this is, we'll just call this yellow image, and then that one's red image. This is going to be lemon image because we already have a yellow one. I believe that one is the, we'll call that blue orange. This one should be the pink. So we'll do blue/pink, or you can call it donut or something. And then we have the sign up button. So I'll put _BTN. Premium images, that's good. Let's go ahead and put some underscore headings on these so we can easily see these. So underscore heading. Whoops. Underscore heading. And then search image. We'll call this text. And then we'll do search rectangle BG. And then we have a status bar. I am going to rename this status bar to black because we're going to need 2 of them in this one scene. Since we're working only in this scene to accomplish what we need to, we're going to need to tell those apart. So the first thing we want to do is select New, and we want these 3 images to expand to about this size. So in scene 1, we're going to do a trigger, and this is how this program works. So we're just going to click the plus, and it's going to ask us to add a trigger, and we'll just say tap. So when we tap on New, so we need to select that layer, New underscore heading, and we'll select that. So we want a few things to happen. We want all 3 of these to scale up, and then we want them to be moved into a certain position. So first, let's scale them all. So I'm going to select scale, and we'll just start off with the donut image, which I named blue/pink, and we'll go to scene 2. I'm going to select this image, and you'll see this one is 350 by 515. So let's remember that. And on scale, we'll select that, and we'll set this to 350 by 515. So when I select this, you'll see that this is scaled up. Now we need to do that for the other two images, so I can simply select scale and hit Command-C, Command-V, or Control-C, Control-V on PC, and select a different layer, and this time we'll select the blue-orange, and we have the same dimensions, so that will scale up nicely, and then we can do that one more time, Command-C, Command-V, and select our final layer, which is our lemon image. So for our preview, when we select new, everything is scaled up to the correct size. Now we need to position them. And I'm going to select a shape and rectangle. And I'm just going to drag this rectangle the full size of this artboard. Okay, 375 by 812. And we'll just set this to white since that's our background color. And what we need to do is drag this to the side. So when we scale up after this tap, we need to place our second image centered in this. Then we need to Command-C, Command-V on that. And we need a third page where the lemon image will be. Close this color box. And we can rename these. Let's do page _2 BG. And then page _3 BG. So now that we've scaled all three of the images, we need to move them. So I'm going to add a move trigger. And this is going to be targeting our first image, so the blue/pink one. And for the coordinates, I'm going to go to Scene 2, select this centered image, and it is 12.5 by 147.5. So I just got to remember 12.5. And here we'll input that information. So 12.5, and then I'll paste the Y value in. So I'm going to grab these two rectangles, I'm going to copy them, and in Scene 2, we're going to paste those in. So let's drag this image all the way to the front. This needs to be centered on the first rectangle, so we have the correct spacing on each side. And we're going to copy these coordinates for the second trigger. So on Scene 1, we need to Command-C, Command-V, and then we need to change this to the blue-orange image. Go to Scene 2, copy the coordinate values, paste those in. The X should be the only thing changing now since they're all the same area on the Y value. And now we need to do the third and final, which is the lemon image. So Command-C, Command-V on that one. And we'll select the lemon image. And we'll go to Scene 2. We'll drag this rectangle right there and copy the X coordinate. Go to Scene 1 and paste that value in. So now if we preview, we should no longer see these two after we select this, which we don't, and this looks to be perfectly centered, which is good. So before we get into the paging aspect of this, which we're going to have to use a scroll effect for that, let's go ahead and hide some of the elements that we don't need. So if we go to Scene 2, let's put this back to the center. Everything up top stays the same, so we don't need to hide any of those. We do need to hide the next text and everything below those three images. And then we also need to add these in. We'll do that later. So still in this tap trigger, I'm going to add an opacity change. And the first one's going to be to the most viewed heading text, which is that. And we're going to set that to 0. I'm going to copy that and paste it in and change that to the premium image heading, which is that one. Copy that again. And then we'll target the sign up button. Now we need to do these two images. So I'll copy this and paste it one more time. And then we'll find the yellow image. Copy that. And then the red image. So one more. Copy and paste. And then change this to new heading. Okay. And when we select new, we have this. Perfect. So now let's make the paging effect. So I'm going to collapse this just to get this out of our way. And we're going to need a container, paging container. And you can make this area as big as you want. For this effect, we're going to need it to be the full size of the artboard, so 375 by 812. So if you wanted this section right here to scroll, you could make it just that section. It's up to you. So that's pretty cool. What we need to do is rename this to something. I'm going to call it scroll. And I'm just going to drag this all the way down to the bottom. And everything inside of here is going to actually move. So I'm going to expand this. It's like a group. So we need our three images, of course. So blue, pink, blue, orange, and lemon image, and just drop those in there. And if we click preview, and I select new, you can now swipe through. You see how this is not aligned properly? It's because this is actually the edge of this image. Because there's a drop shadow on there, it groups the drop shadow with this image. So that's actually the edge of the image right there. And it doesn't know to give it extra spacing to center this up. And there's no way that I have figured out to fix that other than creating these two rectangles. So to fix this, with these two rectangles selected, you just drag them into the same scroll folder and make sure they're at the bottom so the images are visible. Now if we look at the preview, you'll see what I'm talking about. We click new, that one's centered, and this one is actually centered. So that's how to fix that spacing issue. And again, this is only with images that are not the full width of the page, or if you're doing vertical, the full height of the page. So now that we have our paging done, you'll notice the rectangles are disappearing because we have clip sublayers on. So if I turn that off, you can see they reappear. So everything is working nice. So now we need these extra elements to appear. So I'm going to go to scene 2, and I'm actually going to grab these. The first one is this arrow. So our back button. And I'm just going to paste that in. It should be in the correct position since we copied it from another artboard. And I'm going to name this back. Let's just do icon. And by default, I want the opacity on this grouping to be 0. So we can't see it. So back into our tap trigger, we need to copy this last opacity, and we need to flip this. So instead of going to 0, it needs to go to 100, and we need to select that back icon. New fades away, and the back icon comes in. Now we need our 3 paging indicators. So we'll go grab those. And just grab all of them, Command C. And then here in this scene, I will Command V on those. So what's going to happen is this blue one is going to move depending on what page is selected. So I'm going to copy this gray one, and I'm going to put that one perfectly centered, and I'm going to call this gray middle. And this is going to be gray. Let's actually just number these. So that'll be 1. The middle one would be 2. And then the third one, which is 19, needs to be gray underscore 3. And then this just needs to be blue underscore 1. And I'm going to select all of them and Command G to group them. And I'm going to name this paging. Okay. So I want this blue one to move over on top of this other gray one. There we go. So when this blue one moves over, we have a gray one underneath it. Perfect. Since this is not visible at the start, we need to select the group and turn the opacity to 0. That means here when we tap, we need to copy this last one, make sure that goes to 100, and select our grouping called paging. So in our preview, that should appear, which it does, and now we need to animate that to match the paging. So to do this, I want to note that this was a bit confusing for me until it kind of clicked. So I'm going to try to explain it to you so you guys can get it the first time and so you don't have to struggle with the math like I did. So what we're going to be doing is adding a new trigger called chain. Now what this is going to do is we're going to select a layer to look at. So we're going to look at scroll. And the property we're going to be paying attention to is the scroll. So when this scrolls, we want to change the move value of our blue rectangle. So I'm going to grab my blue rectangle. And we have these 3 boxes. The first one is the scroll range. So to show you that, let me grab scroll and turn off clipping sublayers so you can actually see the other 2 screens. So this third rectangle right here goes as an X value of 750. So it goes from 0 on the X to 750. That is our range. So we're going to grab this value, go to our move, and paste that in. So for the X and Y value, that is affecting this blue rectangle. So we're not moving it up or down. So we're going to put 0 for the Y value. Now the X. To show you this, I'm going to go to Photoshop. All right, so this blue rectangle right here is 24 pixels wide. This space from this rectangle to this rectangle is 10 pixels wide. So I'm going to mark that. So we'll just do a line like right here and one right there. So this range is 34 pixels. So when we move to the next screen, we want to push this rectangle there. So we're taking that space with it. So we're going to add 24 plus 10 to give us 34. And then since we're moving that to the next location, we need to say 34 by 2. That's going to give us 68. So now if I select preview, we can click on new, and then you'll see it continuously moves. And on scroll, I'm going to select that, and then we can turn back on clip sublayers. So now we've successfully done scene 1 and 2. So the next thing we need to do is make this look like this. So first, we're going to have to double tap on this blue image to make it full screen. So we'll double tap trigger on the blue orange image. Then we want to first scale and then move. And to get these values, I'm just going to select this image, Command C, go to scene 3. Let's hide this one. And then I'm going to paste this sucker in. And we're going to scale this up to, let's try 900. And then we need to center that so that we can't see any white. That looks pretty good on positioning. So now we're going to copy these values and input that in the move and in the scale. So I'm going to copy this, go to scene 1. On scale, we're going to paste that in, and then it was 900 on the height value. And then the move values, let's go to scene 3. We're going to want to move this to -28 on the Y. Let's paste those in. And I know this is not going to work because this is on the second page, so we're going to have to account for that in our math. So if I go to preview, it's going to go way off to the side, I'm pretty sure. So if I swipe over, double tap, yeah. Okay, so I will fix this math. All right, so to fix this, I'm going to grab a calculator. And our current value is 124.64, and that is a negative. To fix this, since we're on the second screen, we need to push it over by the width of the artboard, which is 375. So plus 375 gives us 250.36. 150.36. I bet you guys didn't know you were doing math today, but we are. So if I preview this, this should center everything up perfectly. Nice. Also under this double tap, we need to hide certain elements. So I'm going to grab an opacity and we're going to change this to 0. And the first thing we need to do is the search rectangle. I'm going to copy this and paste it again. And then we need to change this to the text. So I'll just copy this again and paste it in. And then I'll grab the paging group, copy it one more time. And then I will grab the back icon. And we select that. We have that. So now we need to hide this and make a white one appear in its place. So let's go grab the white status bar from scene 3. Command C and Command V. Its original state needs to be at 0% opacity. And I'm going to rename this _white. I'm going to place that directly above the black one. So here, first we need to hide the black one. So I'm going to Command C, Command V to make a new opacity adjustment. And I'm going to select black. And that's going to set to 0. And I'm going to copy that and paste it again. And this is going to be the white status bar. And we need to set that to 100. There we go. You see that change happen. All right, so what else do we need to add? We need to add an X icon, this blue text, this text, and this grouping. So I'm going to copy that and paste that in. And then by default, let's just group these together and call this page _3 and then just stuff. I mean, you can name it whatever you want. And then we'll set that to 0% opacity. And then we need to target that page 3 _stuff. And we need to set that to 100% opacity when this page is actually active. So here, double tap, and that appears. So now that we have successfully prototyped our way to the third and final screen, let's animate our way back and then we will be done. So the first trigger I'm going to add is a fling, and this is basically like a user swipe. And I'm going to apply this to the page 3 stuff, and you'll see why I did that here is because this rectangle is pretty much the full screen. So when we finally get to right here. We can't target the background image because this is covering the entire background almost. So we're going to fling down on this. And when we do that, we need to go in reverse order of what we did here in the double tap. So I'm going to make sure this is set to down. So we're flinging down. And I'm going to expand the double tap. I'm going to select the first value, hold Shift, and then Command C to copy those. And then select Fling and then paste those in. So we'll work on the opacities first because that's just a simple change of a slider. If they're set to 100%, we need to set them to 0. And the opposite goes, if they're set to 0, they need to be set to 100. So I'll drag all these over. Just like that. Now for the scale, we're going to be scaling this back down to when we first scaled it up. And we did that here in the tap, I believe. So we'll select scale and we'll copy this 350 by 515. So 350. And I'm going to unlock this by 515. And then we need to move it to the correct position. So here in the tap, we find that. We'll copy that's 387.5. So 387.5, and then I'll paste in the Y value, which is 147.5. And let's see if this works. So we go all the way to here, we fling down, and then we can fling back over. That looks perfect. Yeah. Okay, so now let's do the back icon to get us back to the home. And we'll do that with a simple tap on the back icon. And here we need to do the exact opposite we did on our original tap, which is on the new menu. So I'll click on the first one, hold Shift, select them all, Command C. We can collapse this then, go down to our new tap and paste that in. And we'll start with the opacities once again, just making them the complete opposite of what they already are. So those need to be set to 100. So that should make everything its original opacity. Now we need to move and scale these three images back to their original position. To do that, over here in scroll, I'm just going to select the blue/pink. And then the original size is 120 by 173. So here in our scale, we can set this to 120. And then I'm going to unlock this, and this needs to go to 173. And then we'll do that for all of these. So 120 by 173. And the third and final one is 120 by 173. There we go. For the move position, we need to put the X and Y's back to normal. So for the blue and pink, that is 12.5 by 147.5, which is already there, so that's nice. And the next one is the blue-orange image. That needs to be at 127.5, and the Y value should stay the same since it didn't move. So let's find that here, and we'll paste that in. And then the third is the lemon image. That needs to go to 242.5, so I'll find that here and paste that value in. So that should be everything. So let's click preview. We select new, everything hides, that expands and moves over. We have our page indicators animating. We can double click on this one to go full screen. Swipe down, it collapses, everything is still looking good. We click the back icon and we are back to the home screen. Alright guys, so that is it for this tutorial. Now it's come to the time where I give my opinions. If you don't want to hear that, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. But for those of you who want to hear my opinions and my thoughts on the program, I'm going to share that now. Okay, so I think it's great. I mean, if you're looking for something to prototype with, it's fairly intuitive. Once you get over the math aspect, which is the only downside that I've found so far after using it for probably 4 to 6 hours now, because throughout this tutorial, I've done other things in it on the side. So yeah, I like it. I mean, I don't see it competing with After Effects as far as having complete animation control. But let's be honest, that's for super, super detailed UI. And for a lot of stuff in UI, it's very simple. Like what we did today was not that easy, in my opinion. Like we created something that blew up from a small card into a full screen and kind of changed colors of stuff. And the math, that was only for using like a page indicator, which a lot of times you don't even use. So that's one thing to think about. Now, what I really like is the triggers. With triggers, you're getting a wide variety of what you can do. And there's some stuff with this that I find way easier than After Effects. Like I did a card flipping over, just like 3D animating over. That would have taken me a while to figure out in After Effects because I've never actually done that. With this program, I was able to figure that out in a few seconds. It was very, very simple. But as far as like really large animation projects, I'm still going to go with After Effects. So I think ultimately After Effects still wins, but I am going to include this in my workflow. Guaranteed. It's a really great program. Like I said, the only downside that I found was the math. As far as the UI goes, it was very intuitive. The tools are very simple. I like that about it. There's a lot more stuff that I'm looking at right now on the screen that I haven't even got into yet, and I'm excited to kind of check that out as well. As compared to Adobe Xd's prototyping right now, this is light years beyond, and I wish that Adobe Xd can get theirs to this so it can be an all-in-one program. And if that ever happens, sadly, I would have to leave this and go to that. But as of now, for the foreseeable future, I'm going to probably be using this for a lot of my quicker projects. But like I said, for larger projects that I have a lot of animation going on, I might still use After Effects. I don't know. I got to see how it goes. But yes, I'm going to be including this in my workflow. If you guys didn't know, this is a $100 program, which is actually not that much if you think about it. It's a one-time purchase, and you get it for life, I believe. I think you get free updates and everything, so that's good. And yeah, I'm really happy with this program. I can't wait to see what I'm able to do with it in the future. I've seen quite a bit of stuff on Dribbble, people using this, and they've been able to pull off some pretty cool stuff. So that's my review of the program. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to see tutorials on this program, let me know down in the comments below. It'll give you guys some more content. So that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more UI related content. And as always, have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.